BodyBags, where horror lies.
Welcome back to BodyBags. This is week number 354, and this is Label Week, where we're going to concentrate on Synapse all week long. I'll be your host, Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and this week I picked This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse. But wait a minute, that's not Synapse. You caught me. Here's the Synapse version. Now, this is the whole trilogy. This is just the movie that I'm doing. Now, the trilogy breaks down to At Midnight, I'll Steal Your Soul. This Night, I'll Possess Your Corpse. And the third film is Embodiment of Evil. Now, films 1 and 3 were already done by BodyBag alumni, so I'll be concentrating on the second film this week, which is This Night, I'll Possess Your Corpse, which is my personal favorite. Now, This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse is a 1967 film which runs approximately 105 minutes and is written and directed by Coffin Joe. Now, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I think that's going to be a little bit disrespectful since he just passed recently. He passed away on February 19th, 2020 at the age of 83. So we lost one of the greats. I do believe the reason why we didn't really hear much about it is because of the coronavirus. That pretty much overshadowed everything at that time. Now, as I said, this is written and directed by Coffin Joe. He is the star of the film. This also stars Tina Wallers, Nadia Freitas, Antonio Fracari, and this is a Brazil film and is in Portuguese. Now, I'm going to get into the overall plots of all three films because you kind of can't talk about the plot without referring to the first film and the third film because they all have a similar theme in common. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Coffin Joe. Now, the first film is probably my least favorite in the series, probably because he comes off as a little bit more of a bully than this grand demonic being. The second film, you can definitely tell he was a lot more comfortable and he was definitely cutting his teeth in horror. And he went there. I'll put it that way. He definitely went there. And there's even a color part of this film where they take a pretty psychedelic trip into hell, which is really cool if you've never seen it. Because the movie is in black and white, but that part is in color, and it looks awesome. So here's the story of basically all three films. Coffin Joe decides that he wants to leave an heir. He wants to have a son to continue on with his superior beingness, per se. His wife is unable to have children, so when he decides that he wants to have an heir, he kills her. He takes his best friend's wife and tries to have a baby with her. Doesn't work out. And you kind of think that they kill him at the end, the townspeople do, because he's evil. Now, in the second film, this picks up directly where the first one left off. And you have a group of people who are awaiting his return. Now, of course, Coffin Joe is a grave digger, and he kidnaps several women from the town, the cream of the crop, as it were, in order to bear him a son. See, he needs to, because he's a superior being, he needs to find a superior woman to kind of create a superior demonic sort of race, which I thought was pretty cool. Well, with these women, he basically murders them if they don't fit his criteria. And one of the women just happens to be pregnant, and he didn't know. Now, Coffin Joe is an evil being, but he has a soft spot for kids. So when the lady curses him before she dies, he thinks that everything that's bad that happens to him is because of this curse. That's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. In the third film, he does go to jail at the end of this one. In the third film, it's like 40 years later, and he finally gets out of prison, and he goes back to his old ways with with like a motley crew of minions. And he's still determined to have an heir. These movies are a lot of fun, and a little bit of interesting things about Coffin Joe. He, from what I can tell, was basically the Elvira of Brazil. Now, I'm not talking about the way Elvira's loved by every man pretty much in the world, but he's kind of a spokesperson for horror. He has his hats, he has his posters, his comic books, and actually the Phantoma discs come with comic books, which is pretty cool. But Coffin Joe is actually responsible for the first full length horror film in Brazil, which is neat. And you kind of get that feeling when you're watching the first film, At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul, because he's just finding out what he's doing and trying to get there, if you understand my meaning. This is a really good series. I definitely recommend it for everybody. I'm not sure if the Synapse trilogy is still in print, but if it is, definitely grab yourself one. Coffin Joe is a lot of fun, and I had a ball checking out these movies. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.